Okay, we are recording and then we are going to do the screen sharing. Okay, well, sorry, I should, yeah, good. Okay, let's get started. Again, my name is Victoria Bracha. I'm a business advisor and financial strategist. And today we are going to talk about, and every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we're going to spend the first 15 minutes doing the SBA loan briefing. And then we're going to use the next about 40 minutes or so doing business matters, finance related for your business. And today, the topic is updates on the new PPP and EIDL and disbursement process. Okay, and so this Tuesdays, and I also have Thursday as well too, on the 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. For the different webinars. The Tuesday ones are more focused on the money matters for your business, and Thursdays will be more business operations, sales, and marketing. Okay, and then, so this month, there are 4 of the webinar on Tuesdays. Today is going to be updates on the new PPP and EIDL process and disbursement as well too. And then the 14th is going to be after the daily briefing, the weekly briefing, we'll have how to set up our accounting a spreadsheet for the tracking. Basically, it's for the PPP as well too. I'll give you a PPP tracker. And then the 21st, it's going to be how to do business sales and expense projection. Because now you have the PPP, you have the EIDL, you know how to track your expenses, but also you want to kind of anticipate what's your sale, what is your expenses, so you know what you need to do to make the money last as long as it can, right? So, and the July 28th, it's going to be how to get additional business loans and get your financing order. For that one, we'll talk about other loan options, and maybe there are grants around. I know a lot of cities and a lot of business are doing some kind of grants, so there might be other ones as well too. So that's the 4 webinars for this month. And now, before I get started, and I know everybody's busy and bombarded with information and webinars and invites, and so why spending the time the next 1 hour with me listening to Victoria Bracha and regarding the the SBA disaster loans, the CARE Acts, or whatever business related, right? So first of all, let me just briefly introduce myself. I am a certified business advisor for Silicon Valley Small Business Development Centers, which is a nonprofit organization. There are a small business development center, SBDCs, throughout the United States. They are funded by the SBA and by the local government. And for my center, it's funded by Santa Clara County. We offer free assistance to help small local businesses navigating through the loan process, and also just in general, helping the small businesses to succeed. And I get updated almost on a daily basis directly from SBA and SBDC. And my business experience is I owned and managed a women's clothing boutique for 15 years. I did a manufacturing and also wholesaled over 100 stores throughout the United States. And combined with my degree in finance, I really have a good understanding and experience and expertise in running a small business. And currently, I sit on the advisory board for Industry Council for Small Business Development. I'm ambassador for Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, and also sits on Asian Affairs Business Committee with Cupertino Chamber of Commerce. Okay, before I get started with the presentation, there's always a disclaimer. What's this disclaimer? Usually, it's just educational purpose, right? Information and, using my experience, expertise, and knowledge, and also what's going on in the world right now, right? But just because the CARE Acts, and we see how many changes has been made with the PPP and everything. So what I talked about, the details and guideline regarding that, is only basically valid as of July 6th, which is yesterday, 2020, because they are changing all the time, okay? That's why also I'm doing the weekly briefing on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time right now, okay? So it's to keep you up to date and see what's going on and everything, okay? And today, in addition to the 15-minute SBA disaster loans briefing, also we're going to cover what's included in the June 8th PPP Flexibility Act, how is it calculate the total amount and forgivable amount, and what are the filing and disbursement process and requirement, how to best use EIDL and PPP for your business, and what about EDD for self-employed sole proprietors and independent contractor and its implication for your business if you have employees, right? What its implication for your business when you get approved of PPP, and how to apply directly online with the funds, and how to get free assistance through the SBA, SBDC centers. Of course, you can always contact me as well too. I will have the contact information at the end, okay? Okay, first of all, it's the briefing is, we know that the PPP has been extended last minute, at the end of last week, basically. Congress put into a proposal, or senator agreed, or senator did a proposal, whatever these two, and then president did agree to sign it, and now basically officially the PPP loans are available again, and it is till the end of, no, actually it's August 18th. So the deadline to get approved, not just to apply, okay, because it does take a few days to get applied, to get that in number, you need to basically get it before August 8th. And if somebody has not applied and thinking about how to apply, definitely you can contact me. I do weekly webinar, give you basic information, but definitely I'm here for you. So you just can contact me, and I have the email and phone number later on for you, okay? And of course, the whole deal with the PPP is we want to get 100% forgiven. Otherwise, what's the point, right? And so in order to do that now, it makes it a little bit easier, because instead of the 8 weeks as before, now we have 24 weeks. That really opens a lot of flexibility. That's why it's called the PPP Flexibility Act, right? It's signed to a law. It's a law right now, that 24 weeks. But there's some specifics that you want to be aware, including the full-time employment, the headcounts, right? And so it's being extended right now to December 31st, 2020. And the level you need to be is with your, especially you have the W-2 self-employed, it's not as, it's not going to be an issue, right? But for people with W-2 employees, basically you want to make sure that it's where you were on February 15th. Okay, so that's basically the same amount of payroll and same amount of the headcounts. Although you can decrease the hour or the the hourly rate, or for the payroll to a certain extent, and I will discuss a little bit later on. But also, the thing is, you can also increase as well too. So as an owner, you cannot increase your pay, but on the hand, for employees, you can increase for, say, hazard pay or bonus or things like that. So the amount of money you get for PPP, I think it should be fairly easy to use it either for 8 weeks or 24 weeks. Okay. And then at least 60% of the fundings or more can be used for payroll. And then 40% or less can be used for rent and utilities. Okay, so that's also a good plus, because the Flexibility Act, that you have more to pay for the rent and utilities, where usually that's more of the case for a lot of small businesses, because the business owner basically also work in the business, and they may, the business is not as profitable, they may not get that much of income, right? So that's a good plus in that sense. And if you have employees on EDD, what you have to do is you really have to, first of all, if they don't want to come back, you need to get a written notice from them and saying they do not want to come back, they reject it, right? And if they are on EDD, you do have to notify EDD that this person, basically you offer the job and they do not want to come back. And I do understand right now with the business, with more of the COVID cases, a lot of states, the reopening process have been slowed down and rolled back. So maybe you don't need the employees right now, and you did start the EDD, and you did start the PPP, and you had your employees stop the EDD. And if your business is not reopening, or if it's opening and doesn't need that much of hours, what you can do is basically hire them as a partial employment. And then this way they will still be eligible for the EDD, and also the Pandemic Employment Act, which that's the $600 a week, which will finish by at least for now, okay, it's for July 31st, and some state maybe a week earlier, but for most of state, it's on July 31st. So that's maybe something you can do as well too, because of that 24 weeks. And then that also still eligible for you for the 100% forgiveness, okay? Now, because of the new Flexibility Act came out last month, there's some confusion with the PPP, how much money, and also how, because of 24 weeks, and how many weeks in that sense, if they're already in the 8 weeks. So the basically the now you have up to 24 weeks, right? Before they would say either 8 weeks or 24 weeks. The PPP forgiveness is done through your lender, okay? Not even though SBA is giving the lender the guarantee and everything, right? The go ahead to do it, but the actually deal with the forgiveness part is with the lender. So you want to really double check with your lender to see what their rule is, and it should be up to 24 weeks, and it's retroactive for all PPP loans. Okay, that includes the 60% and 40%. Even though when you got the loan, the writing was saying, oh, it's you have to be minimum 75% and 25%. Also, that those ratio, it's retroactive. Now, what is not retroactive, and you have to renegotiate with your lender, is term of the loan. So if your PPP, you didn't get 100% forgiven, right? If you get 100% forgiven, it's fine, it's done. But if you did not get 100% forgiven, and before it was for 2 years, right? Basically, the first 6 months. And then after the 7th month, it's first payment, and the payment is for the next 18 months, right? Then it finished. And that's what it happens, right? Now you need to renegotiate with your lender. If your PPP, you got it before June 5th, okay? After June 5th, now it's basically 5-year term anyway, so you don't have to renegotiate. And another thing is, you don't have to do that as well too, is before the first payment for PPP is the 7th month, right? When you get the money, they count as the first day, and then after that, 6 months later, the 7th month you pay, right? And that's your agreement. That's why you have to renegotiate with your lender. But right now, the ones that's after June 5th, okay? Now the first payment is the 10th month after PPP's covered period. Okay, so, and then it's also automatic for 5 years. Okay, so that's something you want to know, that it's not automatic. You still need to deal with your lender. And I think, especially if you think that part of the loan is not going to be forgiven, and that you definitely want to deal with the lender as soon as possible so you can get that 5-year term, if that's something you want to do. Okay, so but you do have that option, but it does have to deal with the lender as well too. Okay. And now the new deadline, of course, is the August 8th for the new PPP loan. So definitely you want to start to, get ready if you decided you want to get the PPP. And I think it's a good idea to get a PPP because it's forgiven, right? And most of the party will be forgiven, especially now a lot of people were concerned about the 8 weeks. And it's like, how can I use it for 8 weeks? But now with that 24 weeks option, it really, makes it really attractive in that sense. One thing also is, I got a lot of question is, because it's 24 weeks, they were thinking, oh, is the PPP, the amount given is 24 for 24 weeks now? No, it's still for that 2.5 times of your 2019 monthly average payroll, okay? And so has not changed. It's just the disbursement period has been now extended to 24 weeks. And then the other thing, people say, oh, the PPP is coming out. Can I apply again? I got it because, but, I did make some kind of mistake and it should be more, and they didn't give me. So right now, it's not open for the PPP. If you already got the PPP and, whatever amount you may think it's unfair, it's less, you were just kind of in a hurry, just wanted to get the money, and now you really feel you're eligible for more. Right now we don't know. There is a talk in the government and, giving some business the second chance of doing another PPP. It really depends also, I think, the reopening situation in that sense as well too. But so stay tuned on that. And also a lot of big company, private organization got the PPP, got a lot of money. Those people they had to return the money. So a lot of money got back into the PPP pot. So we still have over $100 billion for lending out the money. Okay, so that's basically the PPP updates and okay. And for my next Tuesday, the webinar, what we are going to do is we're going to go over the PPP SBA Easy 3508, which is kind of easy, right? And the other one is a 3508, which is the regular one, form step by step. So that's going to be our next webinar. And then at the end of webinar, you can email me and I can email you a PPP tracker. So you can track your expense and you know, for those things. So the 3508 is a little bit more complicated in a sense for business. So definitely it's a good idea to attend my webinar, okay? So that's next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And that's what we're going to go through, you know, with that, you know, with more detail, but that's the parts, okay? So that's for next Tuesday. Okay, so let's talk about the Pandemic Employment Assistance, the UPA for EDD, for sole proprietors and you know, people with employees and all that, right? Because that's important. It kind of feels like there's this conflict, because if you're getting the PPP, you have to get off EDD, and a lot of people do not want to get off EDD because they make more money. But on the other hand, they are worried because if you do report to the EDD, or if you don't report and you know, the EDD find out that there's really a big penalty, okay? So what's to do it legally, right? Do it in a way that makes sense and it's honest and, you know, to kind of, you know, make it all work. Okay, so one thing is for EDD, now they are also open to self-employed independent contractor and also sole proprietors that does not have employees, right? You just work on your own and, you know, or you have a business owner, like two people just work on a business, or maybe you have only independent contractors, but you don't have W-2 earner, right? All those people now are eligible to apply EDD as well too, not just the W-2 earners, right? So that's a good news. Just make sure if you haven't applied, you still are eligible to apply, okay? And EDD for pandemic is basically for 39 weeks. And that started February 2nd to December 26th, okay? That's just the normal unemployment for the EDD, right? So what is different and then what's so attractive? And then there's a lot of debate whether it should be extended, you know, because it's going to end this month. It's called the PUA, Pandemic Employment Assistance Program, right? So that program basically is great because it gives $600 a week, per week, right? On top of your EDD, the regular unemployment money per week. So for a lot of people, it really makes, you know, it doesn't make sense for them to go back to working away, and, you know, because they are making more money being unemployed than, you know, going back to work. So that's a thing. Also, the one is, but then as an employee, right? Your W-2 earners. Now your employer says, you got to come back to work. I got the PPP money. I have to, you know, especially at the beginning of PPP, right? It's like, even if you stay home, I can't use you. You still have to, you know, tell your EDD you're, you know, being hired back to work, right? So, you know, and otherwise you have to write me a letter, and then I have to you know, use that as proof, because otherwise my PPP will not be forgiven. So there's a lot of these kind of, first of all, confusion, tensions as well too for that. So one thing right now, you know, by fully utilize that PPP Flexibility Act, now you have a choice. Choice is, of course, if your business is fully open, you definitely, and you're hiring this employee full-time, definitely you want that person to get off the EDD. But also the thing is, getting off the EDD, you can assure your employees, like, because people say, oh, I got off that, it's kind of hard for me to apply a lot of paperwork. And now I don't, don't want to deal with all these headache, right? Because then, what if you close your business again, with this, and then now I have to reply. But it's not actually the case. The case is every week, what they need to do is report if they made any income or if they look for a job, right? So it's basically up to date there. So for the week they made money, like through your PPP, right? They made money. They just need to report that part, okay? And then if your business closed down, or the PPP money has you used it up, or you really don't need this person or these people, right? Few people or all your employee. In that sense, whatever your business situation is, that's also what I come in to help in a way, is like really look at your business situation, your money situation, to see like what's the best way to deal with that, right? And then you just basically, then they can go back to EDD. And another thing of utilizing the 24 hours is 24 hours, 24 weeks is really, you can hire them in a very limited part-time, maybe because your business is not in, most business except essential working type of business, right? They're not in full capacity. So when they're not in full capacity, they don't need that many employees, right? And the business was thriving, at the beginning of this year. So who would know, right? This happens. So that's the situation, okay? You can basically use them for really limited hours, like 5 hours a week or whatever, small amount of hours. So they are still, because you don't want to lose them as well too, right? But they are still eligible for this PUA money, which is the major part of the money, right? And then partially with the regular unemployment money. So that can really be employed that way. So it's perfectly legal. It's perfectly truthful and honest, because your business is slow and you don't need that many employee, or you don't need that person for that many hours as before, okay? And since you don't have to restore the full time employment till December 31st, so you do have time to, as the business picking up, you do have time to hire them back as well too, okay? And also if they did move on to somewhere else and don't want to come back, like say they find another job and they say they do not want to come back, they can just, and that they are not on EDD anymore, right? Because they found another job, right? But you can't, they will, then that way it's perfectly legal for them as well too, to write you something, say they found some other employment and that they no longer want to come back and a worker and fill that position. Now because your PPP has a safe harbor, you don't have to hire another person back, like to make up the full-time employment headcounts as well too, okay? So that's a good way, for you and for your employee to make sure that that works. So this definitely, if you have any question, confusion, talk to me. And it also with your business, right? Each business is different. So what I can do is basically just give you the general information in that sense, okay? And for the PPP protection program, the counting, and it's very important to really detail all the documentation. As I next week, I'm going to give you the PPP trackers, okay? Basically going through the forms and also giving a tracker. But for you, you want to already start working on it, is to use either a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, or handwritten accounting journal to document all transactions, okay? That's very important, because your lender is going to ask you for all those documentations, because otherwise, your loan will not be forgiven, right? And also archive all the relevant receipts and isolate relevant expenses. What I mean by that is, and again, you don't want to do in the last minute and a lot of stress, right? You're just doing it when you get the PPP, or going back a few weeks if you already got it. Okay, is some of the receipts, most of receipt, I should say these days, store receipt, they are all thermal paper, right? And after time, they fade. What are you going to do? So make sure you take a picture of it, or there is like all those free scanning on your phone app for the scanner program. So you can just scan, and then next time you get a receipt, and then put a folder like title PPP expenses or something. And then you got another one, you put a plus sign, and then you scan another one. So now at the end, you just need that become one PDF file, okay? So you can have all the receipts there. And then the other part about isolate the relevant expenses is a lot of time, like especially for credit cards, right? I know a lot of people put the different business expenses on one business credit cards, right? And now because PPP has its limit how you can use it, right? And sometimes people, even because of mileage for, they even put personal expense in there, right? So it's kind of very confusing. Or maybe you have multiple business cards, and sometimes you use this one, sometimes you say, oh, let me move to the other credit card because this gives the zero interest, right? So there's quite a bit of these migration, should I say, of different expenses, right? So you want to make sure that specific, especially since PPP expenses is can be forgiven, right? So you want to make sure that that expense gets paid separately. Even if you pay for the credit card, whether you're writing check or whether you're paying online directly, you want to only pay that amount. So then there's a reference, okay, this is being used for this. Therefore, this amount is eligible for PPP. And for small business owners, maybe they have business at home. They're using part of their house and utility as part of, business write-off, right, as expense, because that's what they do. They set up one section of their house, right? That's what they do. Now, the utility, it's, you want to write off, but you can only write off certain part of it, right? The percentage, right? So that's, again, same thing, right? It's, even though it's a total bill, you want to separate that and, a document and saying, oh, this is this portion of the utility, this portion, right? So that you definitely want to, every transaction, you want to have a trace of it, okay? And you want to be able to say that when the bank says, I need your documentation, you have those folders. They can, right now they always have these secured portal, right? You can just upload your documentation on there, right? So you want to make sure you say, here, that's my, documentation I upload, that. And that's what you want to do to make sure that everything is covered, okay? And also another thing make it easy is to open a separate checking account dedicated for PPP use only. So if you can produce the bank statement, makes it a little bit easier, right? Still, I think it's a good idea to do step 1 and 2. It just, in case they want, hard evidence, right? But on the hand, it will save you a lot of headache to keep track, how much money you have used and all that stuff. If it's a joint account along with your other business, expenses, and that's not relevant, and sales come in. So if you have that checking account, or even, I think checking is easier. So you have that checking account, you got the PPP money, you put the PPP money into that account, then basically minus, right? For all the eligible for 100% forgiveness, right? That boom, and then at the end, you're done, that's it, okay? And because even PPP, like for the payroll, it's not all the payroll expense there, the payroll, but then there's tax, there's this and that, right? Some are counted if you have a payroll service, for instance, the payroll service fee is not part of the PPP forgiveness. So you have to pay that part separately, right? Because if you put in that accounting, now you're messed it up, that part, okay? So that's all those accounting aspect of the PPP, okay? And again, next week we're going to go through more too as well, okay? Now, change to the EIDL, right, today, because we're going to talk more about the loan disbursement and all this, what happened to your EIDL. If you haven't applied, now they're accepting the new applicant, so you can apply again. Not apply again, to apply. And if you feel you messed up or you applied early, you haven't heard anything from them, you can apply again as well too, okay? But if you have the loan number, definitely it's better, especially starts with 3. Okay, it's better, because you want to keep that, queue, right? You better just not reply, but contact the SBA loan office, okay? But definitely if you're on the fence and saying, I'm not sure if I want to apply EIDL, I'm not sure if I want to get a loan. I think it's a good idea to apply, because at least you'll get a $1,000 EIDL advance, because if you're self-employed, you're just by yourself, you will still be able to eligible for the $1,000, even if your business is not profitable, you're still eligible, because the difference between the EIDL and the PPP is EIDL looks at your business expense when they decide how much money they will, you're eligible for a loan, whereas PPP is looking at your payroll, whether you pay yourself, right, as a self-employed independent contractor, or whether it's to you as an employee paying your employees, right? Employer to pay your employees. So that's the big difference between the EIDL and PPP. And so if you are self-employed and you have a business and didn't make any money, you won't be eligible for PPP, right? You can apply, but they're not going to give you, because it's based on 2019, your earnings, right? If you don't have any payroll. But if your business is not making money, but you have W-2 earners, you still will be eligible for PPP, right? For EIDL separate, first of all, it's a loan other than the grant part. The advanced part, that's, now they don't call it a grant, they call it advance, but the advance that you don't have to pay it back, right? So other than that part, basically, it's a loan, okay? And it really depends on your business operational expenses from February 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2020, okay? That's how they are looking at it. So whether you made money, you did not make money, it's not as a consideration, because what EIDL do is to help you, with your working capital, because of the pandemic impact you had. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this issue. You would be able to pay for that, right? So that's the EIDL. And one thing about EIDL, it's just a lot more flexible in terms how you can spend the money. And the loan is 3.75%, which is, interest rate is pretty low considering there's no any other fees, and it's for 30 years. So the loan is pretty, pretty long-term. So every month's obligation is not that much. And the first payment is on the 12th month, okay? So that's, in a way, that's a good thing. And that you should be able to, do the, like if the business is going well, you just want to pay it off, you can pay it off, okay? And okay, and the loan amount is up to $2 million. although most of the loans that I see from EIDL is $150,000 and under. I see people that's qualified for more, but the offer is only $150,000 for the recent about, since June. That's what I've been seeing. Early on, I see people got more like 87,000, 287,000 and, a different amount, but now I see, kind of about 150,000. Okay. And they also simplify the process at the beginning. They want a lot of documentation, and a lot of forms and everything. Seems like now it's pretty much just the online form. And then basically they're just going through that to decide. Okay. And as I said, even if you decided not to take the loan, it's still a good idea to apply, because you will be able to eligible for that advance money. Okay, so this is an example. So I'm going through the steps of the process. Okay, for the EIDL, so and also everything is done by email, and a lot of people do worry, is this a scam? When I get something, if it's correct, or, so things like that. So first of all, you apply online, right? Actually, I have the online form a little bit later, the new online form, which had changed. So I have it a little bit later. So a lot of people already applied. A lot of people maybe got an email saying you are eligible. So the words are very important. You are eligible for the EIDL loan. Create an account, go in there, and then you'll see how much you're eligible for, right? And so one thing to be careful with it is you want to make sure the email address, it's basically, I think before it was COVID-19 relief.sba.gov. Right now, they might have another email, but make sure that it's something without dash, hyphen, or whatever, anything, .sba.gov, okay? So, because that's very important to make sure that it is a SBA.gov thing. You don't want anything with hyphen and anything in between, okay? So that's the one you get, and then when you open the portal, it kind of looks like this, okay? You'll have your EIDL, the loan number, right? And also it will say, your, the information. So I wiped it out, right? There's information, your business information is basically on there, the business profile. So, it's your application, you applied, and this is the business profile. And on the left-hand side, it will have a slider. So this one is already approved, right? But it has slider, basically, it's up to whatever amount you approved. So you can be approved for this particular case, it's 36,300, right? So it's basically, there's a slider you can choose. 0 means you don't want the loan. You're still eligible for the advance, but you don't want the loan. So it's 0, right? And then it's done. You don't need to do anything. But if you want to slide anywhere from 0 to whatever amount, right, you can just slide it and decide how much you want. Although I do hear that after the loans over $25,000, there is $100 fee, right? Usually they say there's no fee, but now I seems to find that there is $100 fees. But what they do is, instead of giving you 36,300, they will give you 36,200. Okay, so they just deduct that. You don't need to. So if there's anywhere they say pay the fee, you're approved or whatever, it should say you're eligible, not approved. Okay, at that first email. So you want to make sure that nobody is charging you anything there. Okay, and then once you get there, you want to verify your identity. That's that part. They ask you some personal question you want to just answer. It's kind of more multiple choice type of questions, and then the electronic disbursement, basically it is your checking information. And I know a lot of people got like denied. And that's why when you do each step, you want to do it correctly. So, because if you get denied and trying to, chase SBA, it's going to be a little bit, kind of time consuming, right? Let's say. You want to make sure that whatever account you applied, right? Because you check for advance money, you put account, and you want to have the same checking information in there. So everything has to match, okay? Because I know somebody changed the account information, then, or whatever, they kind of got denied, or, so things like that. So then the other thing is, also now they're going to send you, now you got that, and then the last one, sign and close document, it will say pending, okay? So before it will say pending, and then you update it, and they'll say completed, right? So the last one will still say pending. So that's when the SBA loan person basically now going to look at your business profile. They might ask you personal questions, business type of questions, personal questions, right? So now, again, you want to be very careful, because now the email come out. Right now, I don't know, because SBA does kind of change the format. But I know that last month, all the email come in, they come from somebody.sba.gov, right? But then in the email, they will say, warning, this is coming from outside of the SBA system and report to spam, right? And I think they probably now is fixing it, because everybody's like so concerned with the email warning, like, oh, what's happening? And of course I have Gmail, so I don't know, some other email, maybe they don't show the warning sign, right? So, a lot of people don't have the Gmail, right? But Gmail, I and a lot of my clients have the Gmail, and then that's when they say, oh yeah, warning. And one thing you can do is to call the 800 number, the 800-659-2955, and it's open Monday through Saturday. No, Monday through Sunday. So it's every day. It's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. I think they're still keeping that schedule right now. And I would still call Monday through Friday, just make sure, because you want to talk to a level 2 employee. So I would do that time, more of a business hour. That will be better. And then you can check if that person, because whoever email you, they have their name.sba.gov, right? If that person is indeed on file with the SBA. Okay, so that's also a way to be careful with that, and because they will ask you, oh, like, give me the bank statement, or tell me more about your business, or whatever, that kind of question. Okay, so once that's done, and then they will say, oh, please sign the document. They will have that part there in there, and say, your document. So you just go into portal again, and it's basically e-sign. So you just e-sign document, and then now you're approved. Okay, and it takes, I don't know, the disbursement, it sometimes takes about up to a week to get the money. Make sure, double check, make sure your account number is correct and everything. Okay, so that's basically the disbursement process for the SBA ones. Okay, the PPP is a little bit different, but it's more like your communication with the PPP lender, right? But the SBA is like, what do I do? Is it real? Is it what? So that's basically it is. Okay, so if you haven't applied the SBA one, it's basically the COVID-19 relief.sba.gov, and you will just be direct to this portal there. It will look like this, and then you just check the box for all this. And then the form, basically it's very simple. It's about, I would say about, 2-3 pages of these, pretty spots. You want to make sure, like, if you are self-employed and you want to put your name as a legal business name, okay? And you do need for the applying EIDL, you will need a social security number, because it does ask you later on. So if you only have IN number, it's going to be difficult, okay? And the gross revenue, the 12 months, it's basically from February 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2020. So they don't calculate like what's your 2019, revenue, right? And so that's that. And then cost of goods sold, and basically, from accounting point of view, cost of goods sold is like what you buy that you resell, right? But here, since I look at that, new application, there's no place like the previous one says what's your business expense. So I suggest that you put your business expense along with your cost goods put together, business operational expense, right? Because otherwise you'll get very little money, and you're like, oh, what happened? My loan is, my rent is, so much, a month, and they only gave me like 5,000. My rent is more, because the way you fill out the form for cost of goods sold, that's how they were calculating, right? So make sure that you do put your business operational expense as well in there, okay? Of course, if you have the commercial, or you are doing the Airbnb, and that's the rental property, okay? You want to put in the information there, rental loss and disaster, okay? It's only for business, it's not for personal, okay? So that part. And the fourth one is for nonprofit agriculture. And I need to do it quickly because it is, time flies. Okay, so you want to put in, if you did get the PPP money, you want to put in there. If you haven't, got the PPP money, so you want to put in, or any grant, you want to put in there as well too, okay? And it has to be a physical location. And all owners has to, over 20% have to fill this form. So if you have business partners and owns more than 20%, and they don't want to do this, then you're kind of posed, so you need to have all the owners have to file the application. And then make sure that you check, if somebody is helping you, you put the information on top, make sure you check that box, says I would like to be considered for advance up to $10,000. You want to check that, double check your banking information. The bank information, bank name has to match your business name. So if it's personal, you put your personal. If you filed as a business, okay, names, and then here you put your personal account, it's not going to be approved. Okay, so you want to make sure it matches. Okay, so so you can apply online. That's basically the COVID-19 relief.sba.gov. Right now, I think it doesn't need the hashtag anymore. It used to be you need a /hashtag, okay? Now it doesn't need it at that. And also for you have the information for the SBA disaster loan. Now, if your loan is declined, the SBA loan, you got declined, right? First of all, you can definitely contact me and I can help you. Also, if you want to email the SBA for reconsideration, that's pdcrecons@sba.gov. Okay, so you can also email them as well too. But I know that a lot of rejection letter from SBA is very vague. It's like, what does it mean, right? So you can definitely call me, and my help to you is of course free as well too, right? So so don't worry about it, just contact me, okay? And for the local SBDC free assistance is oh, my thing is covering this. I cannot see the email. Okay, yeah. It's sba.gov/local-assistant/fund. So if you want to talk to somebody, local in your near you and have face-to-face meeting, definitely you can find somebody by going to that website, typing your zip code and select SBDC. You'll find somebody, a center near you. Okay, you can contact them. And of course, again, now we're doing so much remotely, definitely you can contact me. All the help is free. Okay, and then there are also different type of loans. There are also, like each state is different, but California, they have the sales tax deferment, iBank loans, and SBA also offers different type of loans, SBA 7A loans, and also 504 loans that, basically give that 6 months pay, right? So it's kind of good. And the express loans as well too. So there are different kind of funding options as well too. And again, if you want to know more detail about it, contact me as well too. So the upcoming webinar, now just mark your calendar for Tuesday and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So the Tuesday one is more focused on the money matters for your business. I will always spend the first 15 minutes to update what's going on with the PPP, EIDL, or if there's some other things going on, I will do the updates for that first 15 minutes. Then the next 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes is basically going to be the PPP or EIDL type of a thing, or accounting or tracking or sales projection. So anything that relate to your business finance, okay? So, since sometimes it's complicated to do the Q&A because it's each business is specific. So I suggest you can email me afterwards, then we can definitely set appointment, phone call, or even online kind of thing to meet. And then the Thursday ones, I'm going to focus on business operation. And now with the reopening, right, the process of reopening, the stages and the sales and marketing. So all things related to how you can get more customer in the COVID-19 era. Okay, so that's the Thursday ones as well too. And so basically my webinars are designed to provide you the tools and the things necessary, the information, knowledge necessary, so you can adapt and pivot your business in the COVID-19 era. And also for your business, it's going to be, I focus on the 3 key areas, which is the money matters, business operation, and sales and marketing. And those are the key and crucial part for your business success. And each time I'm going to basically break it down to, I like to do 3 steps. There are people remember by 3. So it's going to be, 3 steps that break it down to step-by-step process. So it's easy for you to, remember and make it also applicable for your business, right? Otherwise, it's just information. We have so much information, I think in this part of, the era, it's really information overload. And to be able to have some information that can be applicable and, implementable for your business, that's very important, okay? So that's my goal, is to use my vast experience and also with, different clients I've been working with to help your business to succeed in that sense. And you can register, and I have on the Eventbrite as well too, as a Victoria Bracha, and also I have the, on my website too for the event, also Facebook, I would publish the event link as well too, if you're on my Facebook right now. And to call me, they have 2 numbers, same 7 digits last. So it's 650-382-1118 or toll free 382-1118. Okay, and you can email me at info@victoryfinanceinc.com and visit my website, victoryfinanceinc.com, to set appointment with me, to book appointment for free, the 15 minutes. So sometimes email is a little bit too hard, right? It's a little bit hard to email to tell about your whole situation. A phone call, 5 minutes, you can explain your whole situation. So, and also I just did the mid-year planning for a plan to adapt and pivot your business. And it was last week. It's a 2-part webinar, and if you are interested in, first of all, I have the recordings. You can email me and I can give you that. And secondly, if you're just interested in try to plan for your next 6 months, we can definitely also set a 30-minute appointment as well too. All those are, again, my help free service to you, okay? To help the small business community in that sense. Again, that's my contact information. My name is Victoria Bracha. If you are doing on the phone, it's small letter. So I'll just give you the toll-free number. It's 833-382-1118, or email me at info@victoryfinanceinc.com. Okay. And if you want to book a 15-minute free appointment and just want the direct, my calendar link, it's calendarly.com/victoryfinance/15min. Okay, so great. Let me start sharing. Okay. So thank you all for attending today's meeting. I really appreciate your time, and a lot of people stick with me all the way till the end. So I really appreciate it. And also Facebook fans watching the video as well too, the live broadcast as well too. And I just want to say that we're in this together, and I feel good if I can help you in any way to help your business to survive, to succeed, and to be able to utilize my experience to help your business to succeed. So please contact me, and I wish you good luck, and take care and stay safe and healthy. Okay, bye, and see you Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Okay, bye.